Hello everyone and welcome to a different type of video today. Today we're going to be reading. We're going to do some reading today, guys. You guys love reading, right? Well, we're going to do some reading today. We're going to be reading Gerald Robotnik's journal. This is the one that came with the Sonic X Shadow Generations pre-order. If you pre-ordered, you got the journal. I have the journal in my hands right now, and let me just tell you, what a freaking letdown. I thought I was going to get an actual book or something. I think many people did. And it's just a little leaflet that they stick inside the freaking casing that is super thin. That's marketing for you, right? That's how they get you. But anyway, despite the fact that this is a sad little leaflet, there is some very good stuff in this leaflet, lore-wise, for Sonic. So we're going to go through it together, and here we go. So let's read through it. So the first bit here is a message to Abraham Tower, and it says, Commander, your request for tangible evidence of the Ark incident 50 years ago produced very little results. Your predecessor was quite thorough in erasing the cover-up operation. However, Professor Gerald Robotnik's personal diary managed to survive. Ironically, we have Dr. Eggman to thank for finding it at all. This journal was recovered during the investigation of Dr. Eggman's stronghold following the latest incident with the Ark. Unfortunately, time and tragedy have not been kind to the journal. What you're holding now is all that remains of the original book. I'm afraid there is no way of recovering the missing pages, nor can I restore the damaged or redacted elements. It's a pity, as I would have very much liked to have greater insight into Gerald and Maria's lives too. Regards, T. We don't know who T is. I have seen some people suggest maybe it's Topaz from Sonic X, and this is like a little Easter egg for that. That could be it. Some people have also suggested that this is someone who's mentioned in this book. So we'll get to that at the end. So the first page is entry 42. I take great pride in my research and discoveries. Few men are labeled a genius in their own time, but nothing compares to my pride in my boys, redacted and redacted. So this is Gerald talking about his sons. They both graduated summa cum laude, and in record time, no less. They'll have their doctorates in no time. It seems my passions for archaeology and robotics are split between them, but I guess that's what makes them trips off the old block. Ho ho! I cannot wait to see what boons they bring to the world. Entry 162, so we jumped quite a bit here. I can't believe how much time has passed. It feels like yesterday I was celebrating my boys becoming men, and now I'm a grandfather. Her name is redacted, but we know it's Maria, so I'm just going to fill it in. And she is perfect in every way. She brings a smile to everyone's face, and everyone falls in love with her the moment they lay eyes on her. If nothing else, she is my legacy. Everything I do from this day forward, I do for her. And we have a nice picture here of Gerald and his boys. So there's Eggman's father and Maria's father. And then we have Gerald holding little baby Maria. It's beautiful. Entry 170. I deciphered the engravings on an ancient ring I found on a previous dig in the blank jungle, and calculated the location of a fabled flying paradise. I went alone to verify my findings, was rewarded with the spectacle of an angelic island. The land was vast, lush, and hosted a number of biomes in close proximity to each other. I believe I could see an entire floating city at one point. Most majestic of all was a shrine devoted to what appeared to be a massive Chaos Emerald. It's redacted, but I'm filling it in. Could this be the legendary Master Emerald? Again, it's redacted, but I'm filling it in. I dared not approach or overstay my welcome. As much as I wanted to explore every inch of the island, I felt it was a sacred land. Just setting foot on its soil felt taboo. I don't know if any civilization remains. The land is vast and my stay was brief. But the majority of that but the majesty of that emerald and shrine will stay with me for the rest of my life. Entry 185. I am about to embark on the most ambitious project of my life. The Earth's first orbital space colony will be the ninth wonder of the world. It will be a place of science, researching all manners of ways to improve our home below. Seeing as it is a vessel made to preserve life amid the harshness of space, I have christened it the Ark. It shall be a vessel to pass on the value of life and peace to the next generation. And while most of the megastructure will be hidden within the base planetoid, I may have gone a little self-indulgent in the design. The only real concern is the source of the funding. While the United Federation supports us, most of the financing is coming through Redacted. I'm assuming that's Gun. I have no illusions about what they'll want, but I'm building the Ark to preserve life, not end it. While I may have my concerns, I am a genius, so I'm sure I'll figure something out when the time comes. I like this little thing here, and you'll see this through the book, Gerald saying he's a genius. It's like you can see his hubris and ego about himself in here. So I have entry 389. It's quite a jump right there. Life and work aboard the Ark has been exciting, for good and for ill. As a positive, we've acquired one of the legendary Chaos Emeralds for our research. They're said to have unlimited power, and preliminary tests suggest some effect on space-time. Bending reality to one's will? Imagine the possibilities. Sadly, Gun is doing just that, but in all the wrong ways. Their desire for weapons research is becoming increasingly overt and decreasingly polite. I use my clout to get a direct line to the president to ask for him to intervene. He said he would, but then asked me for something equally obscene. He wants me to discover a means to immortality. I aim to improve life, not pervert it. Everything gives way to entropy. The concept is laughable, as intangible as a shadow. I refused him outright. In retrospect, perhaps I could have been more diplomatic about it. I find myself on edge. Political pressures aside, I'm told Maria is sick with no clear diagnosis. I wish I could work into it myself, but I'm needed here aboard the Ark. Hopefully this will pass, and she'll recover soon. She's too precious to be left to suffer. We have a picture here of the Chaos Emerald they have, and then the next page is completely ripped out. And this here is said to be a reference to Ifrit from Sonic Rivals, which is... that's a crazy deep cut here. So it says the all-powerful blank. The blank held the power to bind a soul. The blank destroy the entire blank. It's just, nonsense. It's Sonic Rivals Ifrit. That's what this is. That's what this is. So next up we have page 402. I have uncovered a most interesting specimen from the warehouse. It was first recovered by my son, Blank, who became quite the archaeologist. I believe it to be some sort of puppet or robot made by an ancient people. At first, I didn't think anything of it, but when I was experimenting on the Chaos Emerald, it began to move. This suggests the possibility that even the ancient civilizations could harness the power of the Chaos Emeralds. When I was researching various papers related to the Chaos Emeralds and this robot, I discovered that there was a possibility that this robot was something incredible. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this robot may be the cause of the destruction of the fourth great civilization. I'm not sure I believe it just yet, though. So this is interesting, because this tells you that Gerald did not find the Gizoid. It was his son who found the Gizoid. Now, we don't know which son. I'm going to firmly believe that the son who is an archaeologist is Maria's father, and the son who became more of a roboticist is Eggman's father. So that's what I'm going to believe. So we'll say Maria's father found the Gizoid. That's what we're gonna say here. The next entry, 407, says, is slightly illegible because the page is ripped, but it says, I am no longer able to ignore the possibility that the Gizoid did in fact destroy the fourth great civilization. I've discovered a stone tablet that it's, left out here. It says that says much. According to the tablet, blank, the falls from the heavens, and the blank is joined. All that exists will, though it is difficult to be blank, I've been watching my movements. So it's pretty illegible. However, I should say that a lot of the entries in this book that contain stuff about the Gizoid is lifted word for word from Sonic Battle. So it should be easy to find what this says if we go and look up the journal from Sonic Battle. So here we go. Reading what it says from Sonic Battle. Here is the actual page, the actual entry. So the real entry for 407 is, I am no longer able to ignore the possibility that this robot did in fact destroy the fourth great civilization. I have discovered a stone tablet that explains as much. According to the tablet, when the figure falls from the heavens and the stone of the gods is joined, all that exists will become one again. Though it is difficult to believe, this robot has been watching my movements and mimicking all that I do. I was amazed by my scans of this being. Surprisingly, reams and reams of data scrolled and caused my most powerful computer to crash. More intriguing was that the data was all about melee combat and weapons of that age. Eventually, if this being is ever restored to its former state, it'll put all that data to use and recreate all the weaponry and combat abilities that it once had. And that's not all. If my guesses are correct, it would also have the ability to absorb modern weaponry as well. What have I done? Have I uncovered a horrible weapon? We have entry 428. It has been a trying time, to say the least. Maria was diagnosed with neuroimmunodeficiency syndrome. There is no cure. Yet. I pulled some strings and had her brought aboard the Ark for treatment and assessment. The low-gravity environment should keep her symptoms manageable. Her family has been less enthusiastic with my decision. Despite everything, she remains the most positive person in the room. Most of the staff have left their families back on Earth, so I worried she'd feel lonely. Instead, she's become the adoptive daughter of every researcher on the Ark. Moreover, she's become like a big sister to little Abraham, the Ark's happy little accident over the past few years. The President keeps prompting me with his quest to unlock the mysteries of life. Perhaps with his funding and clout, I can find a way to cure Maria while chasing that shadow. This is nice and interesting. So, no cures, no kids aboard the Ark. There were people who thought that Maria was born on the Ark. She's not. She was just brought aboard the Ark to deal with her illness. Abe, though, was born on the Ark, called the Happy Little Accident, meaning two scientists got busy and couldn't keep their dang hormones in check, and we had Abe as a result. That's funny. Entry 515. Gunn has dropped all pretense and is demanding weapons research in exchange for continued funding. I promised the President I'd begin work on Project Shadow, but even he can't get them to back down. It appears I have a gun to my head on the matter. Years ago, I discovered records of an ancient god of destruction called Chaos. It was said to command the fury and force of the ocean, or something to that effect. I've begun developing a basic AI-driven apparatus that can generate cohesion in water and produce controlled shapes for basic actions. I've told the top brass that these can turn any body of water into an autonomous weapon. Deep down, I'm hoping it can be used as easily deployed search and rescue units. Imagine, a flood turned back in on itself to aid those in the rubble. So here we have Gerald talking about, how when he created the artificial chaos, it was Gunn was breathing down his neck, so he made artificial chaos to kind of placate them. But again, it also shows he did not make these as weapons. They were search and rescue units. But, Gunn's gonna do what Gunn's gonna do. Entry 530. Research into Project Shadow is in full swing. The first step has been learning how to siphon Chaos Emerald energy and apply it to living tissue. To that end, I've developed the Chaos Drives. Direct application seems too harsh. Any organism that could directly interface with an emerald would be fearsome indeed. The initial tests were promising, so we're now moving on to the next stage in trials. I will be using salamanders for their regenerative abilities and manageable size. We begin applying Chaos Drives to the test subjects and see how its vitals respond. To keep Gunn from breathing down my neck, I was supplying them with Chaos Drives as batteries for their mechanized division. I loathe powering engines of war, but sacrifices have to be made if I'm to save Maria. I'll sacrifice something out in the long run. I'll figure something out in the long run. I am a genius after all. So this is again Gerald's, hubris that he is a genius, and yeah, I'll figure something out. Of course I will. And we have a picture of Maria holding a salamander, which is no doubt going to become the bio lizard, which is a nice little thing there. Entry 568. Project Shadow has reached an impasse. The subject exhibits accelerated cellular growth to the point that it cannot support its own biological systems. I developed an external life support system to compensate, but it will need to be upgraded and redesigned as the subject continues to grow. The way it thrashes and roars the pain it seems to be in is uncontrollable. Furthermore, it is generating unexplained, I think it says energetic reactions? I don't know quite well what that is supposed to be. Is this an expression of the Chaos Emerald's power? Can a living thing produce such energy? Can it be controlled? There are too many questions, and unfortunately the answers lie in this bio lizard's life. I'll keep it alive and as comfortable as I can until I have the answers I need. I found a region in the Ark that should be able to safely house it while we continue our experiments. I'm not sure what I will tell Gunn. This is Maria, sorry. I'm not sure what I'll tell Maria. I don't want to lie to her, but I think the truth is too cruel. Entry 589. Maria is growing into a lovely young woman. It breaks my heart that someone as bright and energetic as her is diminished by disease. There are no visible effects, and I've caught my fellow researchers muttering to each other, abating her illness. It's infuriating. I find all my reason and restraint vanish when she's slighted. And yet she remains an unending front of positivity, even on her worst days. When the fear and the pain take hold, she tells me she endures for the day when she can return home. She has total faith in me, and the Project Shadow will cure her. Her family back on Earth has no such faith. It's been so long, some of the researchers actually think she was born here. Her family either wants her better or wants her home. I can do neither. Somehow their scorn is harsher than the government or the military's increasing pressure for more weapons research. So there you go, showing the deterioration of the Robotnik family because of Maria being gone and, her illness not being cured. Entry 616. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and I am a desperate man. The Black Comet returned to Earth on its 50-year orbit. I had no idea it actually harbored aliens. Aboard it was, I'm going to assume this is the Black Arms and Black Doom, because it's crossed out. Somehow he knew about the Chaos Emerald and seemed impressed with my work. He offered me a Faustian deal. I accepted. Using his DNA, I was able to overcome energy hurdle Project Shadow had put before me. The small, sturdy biped I developed can perfectly interact with Chaos Emerald energy. Black Doom wanted me to create a herald for his future invasion. Gunn wants Project Shadow to create unending soldiers for them. I'll play them both for fools. And there's a picture here of scribbled out Black Doom. But, we know who he is. 620. When I launched Project Shadow, initially I named it with scorn and mockery. I was trying to grab hold of an intangible goal. Later, it sounded appropriately villainous as I was toying with the fundamentals of life itself. But then Maria looked upon the unfinished specimen and put things into a whole new perspective. A shadow tells you which way to go to find the light. In an instant, she cut through all my pessimism and doubt and filled me with hope. Shadow, as she's come to call him, will not be some dark creature, but a champion of life and hope. I would not have seen that if not for Maria. She's truly a remarkable person who will do great and wondrous things for the world. I must save her, no matter the costs. Well. Entry 633. Now this is another one that is from Sonic Battle, and it does have something that is taken out, but we can easily figure out what it is. So it says, I now understand why this being was named a Gizoid. In the ancient tongue, it means everything. According to the stone tablet, if the Gizoid establishes a link with someone, the Gizoid will swear loyalty to that person. Perhaps it still lacks Chaos Emerald energy, but it has been saying the word link to me in broken tones. It went on to explain, show me your true strength, and I shall obey. I am all things, and all shall belong to me. So, as it suggested, I brought before it my collection of model guns and fired them all. Then suddenly it said, I shall follow your every command, and never leave your side. And since then, it refuses to listen to anyone but me. While it still is a fearsome weapon of destruction, and while it remains under my control, at least it won't be used for evil. However, if someone with evil intentions ever forms a link with the Gizoid, I don't even want to think about what will happen. I must research how one can re-establish a link with the Gizoid. Now we have entry 640. The upper echelon is going crazy. Perhaps they aim to freeze Project Shadow. Soon the ultimate lifeform Shadow will be complete. The application to my granddaughter is also imminent. I cannot let them stop my study at this point, because I am the only one who can save my granddaughter's life. And that one is also one from Sonic Battle, and as is this next one, number 642, the higher-ups are threatening to shut down this research facility. I had no choice but to hand them the Gizoid to buy more time for my research. I tried to be careful and command it to never absorb any dangerous technologies. However, I have heard that other researchers have been making the Gizoid absorb weapons. Apparently the way to cause the Gizoid to form a new link is to show it power that surpasses that of its former master. While this poses immense danger, I cannot risk losing Maria. Then we have entry 650. The top brass still aren't satisfied. The Gizoid isn't enough, or flashy enough for them. Fine. I've developed a weapon I'm calling the blank, which is the Eclipse Cannon. It taps directly into the Ark's control reactor to produce an unethical degree of firepower. They'll love it. However, to use it on any target on Earth would destroy the world. They'll never be able to fire it. Checkmate. It will, however, be the perfect tool to deal with the Black Arms when they return. Eclipse means shadow. I think it says this is Shadow's cannon. My gift to him in a battle he never asked for. I'm sorry. So this tells you why the Eclipse cannon was made. I mean, of course we knew Gerald planned to use it against the Black Arms. They had said that much, but it's nice to see his reasoning is also to use it against the Black Arms and also to placate Gunn and the government and tell them, get off my back. Entry 651. Maria doesn't know the full scene of what Shadow has been designed for, but she understands he will be under tremendous strain. She's helped me conceptualize a number of accessories that will help focus his power and aid in his mobility. I'm also researching chaos control to see if I can gain an understanding in it before Shadow awakens. The power to stop time and space is incredible, and I don't want him to have to try to learn its intricacies on his own. Deep down, I know this program is superficial, transgentle at best. The larger issues remain Gunn, the President, the Black Arms, and my family. I've gleaned there's a rift growing between my sons. My love for them shouldn't be a divisive issue. Running out of time. And it's nice here we see a picture of Gerald and Maria designing stuff, and we see Maria is the one who actually designed Shadow's rocket shoes. That's awesome and adorable, and I love that. Entry 670. It has been a whirlwind of events as of late. Project Shadow is complete and Shadow has awakened. I pre-programmed a great deal of data into his mind, but his ability to parse it out and apply it to his situation is remarkable. All of his vitals are strong, and there seems to be no signs of instability or mutation. He stands in stark contrast to the monster we have sealed below decks. But all successes of the physical and mental prowess come second to his relationship to Maria. I had hoped they'd get along, but it's far better than that. She is his guide to the world, and he is her stalwart companion. Never have I seen such instant mutual friendship and trust between two beings. I am truly moved. They remind me why I've been working so hard. They bring me hope. Back on Earth, my son and blank. I think this is supposed to be my son and his wife are parents. Oh no, sorry, it's supposed to be my son and Maria's parents have been blessed with another little girl. They've already run the test, and she seems to have none of the genetic markers linked to Maria's condition. While this was welcome news, the unspoken commentary was received loud and clear. I must save Maria. I must get my family back. Shadow, you are the key to it all. So there we go. Maria has a sister. Now, she says this in Shadow Gens when you talk to her, but obviously Gerald would write that in this. So it's cool. Maria has a sister out there. And here's what we're going to talk about. Is Maria's sister the T mentioned at the very beginning of this book, talking to Abe? Could be. I could see that. Maybe she became part of Gunn to, find out what happened to her sister. I could see that. And Project Shadow and all that. I can see that. That would make sense. She wants to figure out what happened to her sister, what happened to, the project that was supposed to save her, what happened to her grandfather, all this stuff. So she joined Gunn to get the info. I could see that happening. And maybe we'll see her in the future, because she'd be in her 50s, right? So she'd still be alive. Entry 670 or 706. He's losing his mind at this point. It is actually entry. Oh, it's not entry 670, but you've already done. Oh, sorry, it's entry 690 or 906. Yeah, it's 690. My worst fears have come true. The Gizoid has absorbed enough weaponry and technology that it has started to grow out of control. The resulting rampage resulted in the destruction of most of the Ark. I have deciphered the rest of the stone tablet. It says when the Gizoid has learned all that it could, it became a god of wrath and all was destroyed. The researchers somehow managed to subdue the Gizoid and sealed it away. Luckily, it only had one Chaos Emerald installed. If it were to have all 7 installed, it might destroy the whole planet. The Gizoid is too much of a liability. I tried destroying its core, but nothing I did worked. I understand too little of the technology that built him. My hope is to try and reprogram its AI into a free-willed, emotions-based AI. So there is another entry from Sonic Battle. There. What we now have is essentially the last official entry into the journal. It doesn't have a number because Gerald's just lost track of it now. He says, I've lost track of the days. Not very scientific of me. I'm strained. Something has to give. The Gizoid's rampage caused the artificial chaos to behave erratically, and I attempted to regain neural network control by. See, it's fun because, you know, he's losing his mind, but it's hard to read. By inverting the polarity of the, I don't know what that says, it's all smudged. Instead, they became violent. Shadow raced across the arc, pacifying them quite expertly, but the damage is done. And SOS went out to gun automatically. I dread the litigious reprimanding I'll have to endure next. So, that's a cool entry because that ties into the mission from Shadow the Hedgehog with the artificial chaos going crazy, and it says that they went crazy because of the Gizoid's rampage aboard the Ark. So it's a nice lore bit there connecting it all together. The next 2 pages is Gerald just freaking scribbling stuff, man. It's crazy. I can't put this together. So I am gonna read off what the wiki says that the pages say. They say that Gerald talks about giving both the Gizoid and Shadow hearts and questions whether it was a mistake to create the ultimate life form. The government has deemed his research too dangerous to continue, canceling Project Shadow and planning to kill or imprison everyone involved. He hopes his colleagues and Maria are safe. The colony was shut down to prevent the prototypes from falling into the wrong hands, and the Ark was closed under the pretense of an accident. So that's what he says here, because it is barely legible. It's just like, you know, ramblings of a madman at this point. And then we move on to the final page. Here we go. He says, I found Maria's name among those who died when the Ark was shut down. She meant everything to me, and I couldn't bear the thought that she died because of my research. I lost everything. I had nothing more to live for. I went insane. All I could think about was to avenge her, somehow, some way. I got scared. I was no longer able to control my thoughts. All I could think about was that I wanted it all to end. Based on my original projections, I was able to complete my project, Shadow. I designed its mind to be perfect, pure. I will leave everything to him. If you wish, release and awaken it to the world. If you wish to fill the world with destruction, ... And that's where Gerald's journal ends. This is not... there's more journal entries from Sonic Battle, I guess, if you want to read those. But they're more about the Gizoid, right? So, there we go. That is Gerald's journal. There is quite a lot of lore in there that I love. You know, if you scan the barcode on the back, because it has a barcode on the back, the barcode says they don't know on it. So, there you go. So, that's Gerald's journal. A lot of cool stuff in there. You know, we found out Maria designed Shadow's air shoes. She's got a sister. One of Gerald's sons is the one who actually found Emerald. There's a nice connection there, connecting the mission from Shadow the Hedgehog in there. You know, there's a lot of really good... And I like how they kept the Gizoid stuff in here, too. You know? And it makes sense that they just lifted it from Sonic Battle. That just makes sense. Why would you rewrite it? But that was great. I loved the journal. I too wish it was an actual book and not just a little leaflet. But, well... You know, you do it what you do with it, what you can. But it's still nice to have. You know, it's nice that I can say I have it in my hand. I don't have to read off scans on, you know, the internet or something. I'm holding it in my hand and all that. And this journal was written by Evan Stanley, and she also did the art. So Evan Stanley is the current head writer for the IDW comics, so she did a really good job with this. Of course, Ian Flynn, of course, helped with the story as well. He probably wrote like the basic plot line, and Evan did the actual writing. So props to both of them. They are both great writers, and they did fantastic with this journal. So that's going to do it for me. What did you guys think of Gerald Robotnik's journal? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys all next time.